Hello and welcome to the last tutorial of building a song foundation. And the last step in building a song foundation is to make it your own. So previously we set up all the things like time signature, tempo, and again, this stuff can be changed as you build out your final song. Also chord arrangement and chord progressions, we set that up. Let me actually, oh, that is open. Okay, it is open. So yeah, I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit. So yeah, here's all my chords. And then we built out these virtual instruments. Now you can, like I said, use these virtual instruments in your final project if you'd like, but I honestly see these as placeholders. I see these as a tool to say, okay, I have a song idea in my head, and I'm gonna use these to kind of build a template, and I'm gonna build off of that. So one of the things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and mute out this simple foundation base. Actually, before I do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and save this because we want to save this project. I'm going to save a copy as so that I don't mess with a previous assignment. But I'm going to save a copy as, and then I'm going to do song foundation, make my own. That's what I'll call it. So I'm going to save that. All right, once I did the save as, I actually had to go and open that one and close the other. But now it's that Jared's Song Foundation, make my own. So now it's pretty much the same thing that was open, but now I won't like mess up my last assignment. That's kind of the idea of making a copy. But okay, so I've muted this bass because, well, let's listen to it for a second real quick. This is what, the AI instruments played. It's nice and everything, but knowing that this is actually a song I wrote years ago, I know that's not really the feel I'm going for. So I'm gonna go ahead and mute this bass, and I'm gonna work on making my own bass track. So I've kind of pre-made these tracks just to find some sounds that I think work. They're not like perfect, but they will work for what I'm doing. But remember, to make a new software instrument track, you just right click in this little gray area and you would say new software instrument track. And then you would choose your instrument. You can either choose your instrument here or you can choose your instrument over here. So, but I'm going to delete that for now. If I need to add another track, I will. So as you're building out this song, I think in the assignment you have to add like a bass, a melody line. The melody line would really be what your singing is going to be. Now, if you're not going to sing, you can use a melody line. But if you are going to sing, you can record your vocals, and that can be the melody line. But for now, I'll do a melody line. But anyway, let's focus on the bass first. So I have my bass track here. I've got a little bass chosen out. Not anything great. It's like a synth bass, but I'd probably change it in the end. But for now, we're going to use it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to record arm this track. I think if when you're using instrument tracks, as long as you're selected and you hit record, it's probably going to record it. I've got my 1, 2, 3, 4, my count in, so it's going to count 4 beats before I start before it starts recording. And you can also turn on your metronome, but I have the drum tracks on right now, so that's kind of my metronome. So I'm going to go ahead and start recording. All right, so I'm going to stop there. That bass riff is going to be the same bass riff in the verse, so I'll loop it. But before I move on, I know that my rhythm's a little off. Yeah, I'm a little off there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to select all these MIDI notes. And I'm going to come into here. And I know that the notes I'm playing are around 1/16th note. So I'm going to keep it on 1/16th note. But I'm going to hit quantize. And you should see all these little squares kind of move. Oh, was I on that much of a rhythm? Let me double check that. Wow, there wasn't much movement there. I guess I was on rhythm. But anyway, so I quantized that so that they're hitting like right on the beat. That's what they're doing. Well, I'm impressed with my rhythm today. So, but now that's the bass line I'm using. And then I'm just going to go ahead and up here, if I put this little cursor up in the top corner, I'm going to pull that out and I'm making what's called a loop. And so I'm just looping that now. And when it goes into the verse, it will do the same thing. With this piano, it may not sound exactly right, but we'll roll with it for now. Okay, so there is your bass riff for that, and I'm only going to focus on this first verse. I'm not going to go through the whole song; that would take hours. So yeah, we're just going to focus on this first verse. I've got my bass riff down, and then you would probably make different bass. You know, the chorus will be a little different. In here, I could get away with it because I'm using actually the same chords throughout the whole song. I changed this up a little bit from the first couple of tutorials I did, but I decided to do this song because I kind of know it. But anyway, yeah, but on your pre-chorus and your chorus, you would probably play your bass riff would change a little bit. So you would do the same thing. You would start recording here and you'd make that bass riff. And again, if you know it's going to be the same throughout, you can just loop it. But yeah, so we're going to focus on the verse. And so we have our bass riff, and now I'm actually going to focus on the drums next. We're going to do some I just did electronic drums. Again, these probably aren't the drums I would choose, but I definitely know the drums that are here, that are in the verse song, not the fill in it. So let's go ahead and mute that as well. You can delete these tracks out, but I just mute them just in case, you know, I need to come back and use them as a reference. So I muted that out, and now we're going to work on drums. I've got my electronic drum set, but what I'm going to just do is I'm going to use a pattern region. I'm going to create that. And then let's see, I'm going to pull this all the way out to the intro. So for the intro, I think I'm just going to do that. Okay, so, and then I'm just going to copy that real quick, but then we're going to do a little bit more for this part. So yeah, so I'm going to go and now instead of just on like the one beat, I'm going to have it on every note, quarter note. So. So there's our quarter note. Let's add some snares. Okay, that's a weird sounding snare, but we'll use it. Maybe what I'll do is this. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's kind of fun. All right, let's add some hi-hat. We're gonna mess around. I'm just experimenting right now. That's all right. I mean, it's not what I always typically do, but it's kind of a fun little beat. All right, so the drums I chose have some weird sounds. I probably wouldn't use these in reality, but let's have some fun with it. Let's solo the drums out for a second just so I can hear them by themselves. All right, so and then I'm just gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna loop these through the verse. And we have our drums and our bass. I'm not gonna lie, I hate that noise. Whatever this is. Yeah, that's got to go. All right. Anyway, so now we have our drums, our bass, and we are going to work on a melody. So like I said, the melody, in a sense, some musicians, they'll just, you know, they're singers and they'll sing the melody. Some people, some songwriters, they'll actually play out a melody on like a piano or whatever, and then they'll add the words later. So everybody kind of writes their music different. But what we're going to do today is I have written this song before, so I kind of know the melody. I'm going to play it out on the keyboard, and maybe I'll sing it. I don't know if I want you to hear my singing voice, but for now we'll do it on the piano. So I'm going to bring this over to here. And again, I got my count in. I'm going to record. Let me make sure I'm on the right thing. I'm going to take the record arm off that, put the record arm on this and select it so that I know it's recording there. All right, so I'm going to use this weird thing called Vox lead. It sounds weird, but we'll pretend it's vocals. All right, so it sounds like a frog or something, but we'll stick with it. So there's my notes. I can tell right now I have to quantize this. All right, so I'm going to come down here. Again, I know that my fastest notes in this are probably a 16th note. I'm going to hit quantize. And there, yeah, it moved everything into this. Yeah, so now let's see if it's on. Okay, so that worked. Again, same thing. I'm just going to loop this for purposes of getting through the tutorial. So yeah, now we have a bass, electronic drums, and melody. So just a reminder, as you can see here, I have here kind of a change up in the song. But what I wanted to show you is, like, you can remember, I just wanted to remind you that as you find the instruments that you like and you want to use, like, say for a chord progression, you can just pull that down in, and now you have those chords, MIDI notes ready to go. So let's say I do not like this piano and I do just want to kind of have some chords. I can create a new software instrument, not a session player, but software instrument. And then I can come in here. I use Alchemy a lot. It just has some kind of just fun choices. Let's see if we can find something that's more like rhythmic. All right, just for giggles, I'm gonna grab this stars, drifting by. Let's see if I can do this. I'm gonna select all these. I'm holding down the shift key, and we're gonna see together if I can do what I think I can do. So I want to pull this down and right into here. Yep. And now. So doing that, I just easily added chords. I would not use that stars drifting by too much. But again, another thing to know is, like, as you're doing this, you can come in here. Here, I'm going to solo this out for a sec. And you can change the settings. Yeah, that doesn't work. That's very busy. Glistening worked the best. And then you can also adjust things over here. That's the tremolo rate and delay time. That's a lot of delay time. So let's pull that back down. Okay. Oh. Yeah. Still way too much delay time, but for now, I've built these layers, right? And it's definitely right now is the mix is all over the place. But the idea is I'm building the layers, and then later on you would adjust like panning, volumes, all that stuff. And then even within the MIDI, you can adjust like things like let's go in here. So in this area here, you can do things like adjust note velocity for each note. You can change like the volume, and you can just make it almost more human feeling. But I'm not going to focus on that today. And even in this course, we're not going to dive deep into that. Really, the point of this course is to kind of get you familiar with music theory, familiar with this software, and then in the next course you dive deeper into like the more in depth, like adding compressors, adjusting the MIDI notes and quantizing and using the tools. So, but yeah, so I've built these layers. And honestly, I would add more layers. For me as a musician, I would add some guitar stuff. I'd add vocals, or even more double vocals, harmonies. But overall, I just wanted to show you like how you can make it your own, not using this AI stuff. But after building the foundation, you can start experimenting. You can create your own music and not even be a musician. That is the cool thing about this software. So yeah, so that's just a quick crash course in making it your own. If you have questions, let me know. I'm here to help, and good luck making your songs.